What's with these guys?
Hello, everyone, and of course, welcome to Red United TV. It's your boy Ivorian Spice, and welcome to the catch up 108 or 9. I can't even remember where we are right now, but that doesn't matter. Of course, today we're talking about Manchester United's previous match. This is what the show's about, and of course, Manchester United news, big news coming today that was released regarding Mason Greenwood's future, and of course, Eric Ten Hag. You know, there's a couple of Manchester United fans who are frustrated and fed up with Eric Ten Hag's philosophy, and all of a sudden they're calling him fraud. There are people shouting Eric Ten Hag out, and of course, as well, Mason Greenwood is no longer a Manchester United player. So the statement said we will dive into that, but of course, we discussed the match first. We dissect the match. It's just me and my boy Jerome as well. The best people on the panel, obviously. With the calmest mind as always. But yes, man. Jerome. First of all, how are you? I don't know why I'm asking you because obviously, yeah, but
yeah, I'm all good. Personally, from a personal viewpoint, obviously had a good weekend. Tried to block out the United result. Also had a good productive Monday and a busy Monday as usual. But obviously, getting into the United story is very very underwhelming and disappointing to say the least. But we're gonna get into that.
Yeah, we're gonna get into the nitty gritty stuff. The stuff that we really don't want to talk about. It's very hard for us, especially me as a YouTuber, to do a full reaction once we've lost. It's not easy, isn't it, Jerome?
Yeah.
It's not easy.
I've got respect for you to coming online.
But Jerome,
to
I've got
do
respect
that.
for you. You're always here. Win, lose, or draw, you are here. Some people just back out and be like, nah, I'm working, fam. You know what I mean, bro. But you, on the other hand, you're always here regardless. You don't let it fade. You don't run away from it because it's easy. I could have canceled the show and said, you know what, lads, I ain't doing it.
Just hide away.
Just hide away.
Just come back when United win. That's not the way
That's
to do it, man.
That's not the way.
You gotta be there through the good times and the hard times as well.
Get me? So, you don't go AWOL. You get me? Certain mans will go AWOL in the WhatsApp group for 48 hours and then come back to chat shit.
It's true. Not naming any names, but they know who they are.
They know who they are, man. But big up to everyone, of course. Welcome to United TV. Remember to smash that like button, share across all social media platforms. We're about to dive into Manchester United versus Tottenham. Tottenham versus Manchester United. But first of all, subscribe to Red United TV. share across all social media platforms. And I know Arsenal's playing right now, so of course the viewers ain't that much. Hopefully by the time we finish this stream, Arsenal already 1-0 down at Crystal Palace, and we can enjoy the rest of the week. Because tomorrow I'll be on One Touch TV, the weekly podcast for the week, the Premier League roundup, and this week too. And my team lost, so like I don't want to go there and get trolled on my own on the Arsenal channel as well, Jerome. It's
That's
not the
true.
one. It's
That's
not the
going to
one
be
to go in.
painful.
Painful. I'm happy that Chelsea lost as
Yeah.
well, so there definitely maybe will be a Chelsea fan representing, so he as well can get the smoke, not just me. But on top of that, if Arsenal lose, then I'm giving the smoke back.
Yeah.
But yes, it is Tottenham 2, of course. Tottenham Cockspurs 2, Manchester United 0. Manchester United losing all the 3 points against Tottenham. A disgusting performance in the second half. Whereas the first half as well, we wasn't that. To be honest, people will say that Manchester United were good in the first 45 minutes because of the chances they created. But in my opinion, they weren't that great. They couldn't finish their dinner as well. Yes, we had the opportunities there. The VAR is a big thing. We will discuss that as we go on the show. But in terms of Manchester United's overall performance, I can see the chances that were created. Yeah, and picking up from Spurs' mistakes. And the only good thing was that there was a couple of recoveries and turnovers from the first 45 minutes. But then the second half came into it, and Manchester United caved in as always, unable to score. And what annoys me the most is players who are the most important players, the spine of the team. Certain men like Bruno Fernandes, certain men like Marcus Rashford, certain men like Mason Mount, and certain men like, for example, Luke Shaw, people that have been here the longest and probably part of the spine of the team caved in. Anthony, Garnacho, them guys caved in, man. We'll speak about them when we discuss the players, man. But I am absolutely appalled with the performance. And sometimes I think during that match, I looked at Eric Ten Hag funny. It's like, I'm not seeing this. Like, you're leaving Casemiro far too behind on his own, and you're exploiting our midfield again for the second game running. And we all thought that the Wolves game was bad. You think you'll learn from that, but he goes on again with the same stubbornness. Our manager doesn't give a shit what you think, or what you want. He goes with what he wants. And he did that against Spurs, and we folded and lost 2-0. Yeah, I'm going to hear what you have to say, Jerome, before I continue talking. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, before I even get into the game, I was just shocked at the starting lineup because, as you said, when we played Wolves, we just absolutely run through in midfield because our midfield was so open. You had Bruno being paired with Mount, and both players have no positional awareness. I'd like to get forward. So I thought the manager would have looked at that and thought, okay, I need to make a few tweaks for the Tottenham game because on paper, Tottenham are a better team than Wolves, and we're playing away from home. So we need to kind of keep it tight and compact in midfield. But what does he do? He plays the exact same starting 11, expecting the same result. And it was just atrocious. Like, obviously, the first half, on the balance of play, we were okay. Not spectacular, but we were okay. Created a few chances. As you said, we should have actually scored, to be honest. Bruno missed an absolute sitter. I still don't know now how he missed that header. It was just a straightforward header. It just pick a corner and it goes in. But he looked like he wasn't even looking when he headed the ball. He just leaped it over. And obviously Rashford had a chance, a similar position in the header. Obviously it got ruled out for offside in the end, but it was a similar opportunity. And I was watching the game, I was thinking, can none of our forward players head the ball? Do we not do any headers in training or attack the ball? And it's no wonder why our set piece scoring is so low, because we don't have anyone that's brave enough to attack the ball, let alone head it on goal. So that was disappointing to watch. And it just sort of just petered out, and it just made me think, it's 0-0 first half, like quick fitness levels are coming into play, and how we're going to come out in the second half. And obviously the second half got off to the worst possible start. See the first goal in the first few minutes, and it just kind of went downhill from there. Our mentality is just so weak, and I thought these were the main things that the manager was going to address from last season. Our weak mentality from going a goal behind, particularly away from home. And there was only one winner after that. After we went 1-0 down, the team just folded. We just looked unfit. Like I said, the spine of the team, our main players that we expect us to get us out of the hole, just were non-existent. We're just passive, giving the ball away. It was just like a bunch of strangers playing, and it was a stressful watch, to say the least. It wasn't enjoyable. You're just thinking, this is the last thing you want on a Saturday evening. Another crap performance. It was basically, it just mirrored the performance against Wolves, where we were lucky to get the win in the end. But this one, we kind of got what we deserved, really. We didn't play well, missed a few chances, and what do you expect if you can't finish your dinner? Then you can't be expecting to win the game. So there was a few bright moments. Obviously, the goalkeeper, his distribution was immense throughout. So that's something to look forward to going forward. But just overall, the whole cohesion of the team, and I'm just thinking, where's the style of play coming? Like last season was like we finished on our worst possible points tally, so you can kind of be like, let's just play the more compact and more pragmatic style of play, get top four, trophies a bonus. But this season we need to kick on, and it just feels like the same situation as last season. But in this situation, we've got 3 more points. But overall, something drastic needs to change because we can't continue in this vein. And I don't know if the manager's put extra pressure on himself now, because he's just brought in Mason Mount, and it's going to be a big call to drop him on the 3rd game, seeing as he's his new £60 million signing. And obviously he's made Bruno his captain. We all know how I feel about Bruno. And it's almost like he's put himself in an impossible situation. Bruno and Mount, are you going to drop either or both? And I just don't think he is. And if he doesn't, there's only one way that it's going to go, and he's going to put his job at risk if he's going to keep persevering with these two and expecting us to get results and to control games. So it's going to be interesting to see how we've come out with our formation over the next few games, because surely he can't pick the same as that team for the 3rd consecutive game. If he does that, then I just think this manager doesn't know what he's doing, and he's going to lose my faith. If I see the exact same team come out against Forest and we play the exact same way, then I can't back that. Sorry, I got to have the same energy, because when Oli was doing that with his favourites, I had the same energy, and I doubted him, and I thought, no, this fraud needs to come out. But right now, the manager's on fraud watch, because you can't just be sitting there just backing the manager blindly when he's not ready for his mistakes. So we'll have to see. It's going to be interesting, but like you said, if our rivals are dropping points as well, it might make us feel a bit better. But we need to look at ourselves, and right now we're not performing, and something's drastic's got to change for the next game.
Yeah, absolutely right, man. You know, I have to say that again because if he continues to pick the same team against Nottingham Forest, I'm gonna look at him thinking, like you couldn't see the problems Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes clearly doesn't work. You know, guys, make sure you check out the video that I've made, the 5 things that we noticed against Tottenham versus Manchester United. And back to Andre Onana, I'm happy to have a goalkeeper like that, because you can see the difference when you have a proper ball playing goalkeeper and the advantages that he brings you and the benefits he brings you as well from the distribution. He was right there. Like one of my favorite distribution was when he found Garnacho as from a long kick, something that De Gea can do, which is long kicks, but he's never been precise with his long kicks. His long kicks
just hit and
always
miss,
ends up
basically.
hit and miss, and so for some reason we just lose possession straight away. Whereas when he takes the long kick, it's to put us in an advantage of an attacking situation, Jerome. So big up to Andre Onana as well, and big up to those who just tuned in as well. M says, man, you ruin your weekend and your vibe. Yeah, do you know what? Also, the England women's team ruined my weekend and my vibes, because that's back-to-back defeats. You know, we was out here supporting the women's team, you know, as we do, you know, supporting women's rights and etc. In it, Jerome, you get what I'm saying, bro?
I actually watched it. Like literally, like people are surprised, but I actually sat there and watched the full women's final, and it's a good game. But Spain deserved to win, and England didn't really do much, if I'm going to be honest with you. But at least they made it to the final, which is more than the men's team when it comes to the World Cup. So you've got to give them some credit.
Absolutely. Big up to you as well. Bath time with one long time as well. Oh my gosh, you changed your green screen to say no, it actually says Red United, it's just that we've changed the screen. If I was to do this, you'll see that it shows Red United, but because it's just me and Jerome today as well, man. And M says Anthony, don't get me started. Washed up winger, got City signing Doku, a real winger, gonna show Anthony levels there. Doku, I remember him in the World Cup as well. He done well as well. Bath time with Vaughn says that what's ruined my weekend. He said, what's ruined? I hate those bastards. At least bees make honey. I don't know what was makes probably glue or gravy. That's what he said there. He or she has says there. But yes, back to that, man. Anthony as well. Let's talk about these players, Jerome, because Anthony, Garnacho, Bruno Fernandez, Mason Mount as well. Luke Shaw to an extent. And Jerome, I've had enough of Luke Shaw, you know. He's
Yeah,
washed up.
I
I
agree
don't
with you.
I don't care what people think. Oh, sometimes he shows he has the purple patch, but he's been there for a very long time. And I've always been calling out that we need a new left back, an elite left back that can go to the byline, commit, put in crosses as well, not just do outside the foot fancy crap, and probably very good at defending as well. Because I've had enough of potato head, bro. I've had enough of that burger.
You know, Luke Shaw,
Hmm.
the thing
Hmm.
with Luke Shaw, he seems to do the bare minimum required to stay
Hmm.
in the team. He never does anything outstanding. I can't remember. Has he ever had a man of the match performance? I don't think
I
he.
don't.
I can't remember. Like it's just the bare minimum, and for me, he just seems a bit passive. And some days he's up for it, some days he's not. Some days he looks tired and lazy, and he just seems like he's the luckiest player at Man United. Literally, he's overpaid. He's been there
Mhm.
for years, sitting comfy. Doesn't seem to be challenged at left back. I'm not sure what's going on with Malacia, but we need to strengthen. Maybe that's not for now because of lack of funds and stuff, and players need to leave. But in the near future, maybe next season, we need to get a new left back in. That's me. I'm not even hyping it. We
Mhm.
need a new left back, a
Mhm.
proper one to come in and just challenge him because obviously Malacia is still young. He's more of a project, long term
Mhm.
project, but yeah, he's not getting challenged, and you can just see his performances, and he's definitely not fit. He's not getting forward.
And also Garnacho as well. 2 games in a row where I've been seriously frustrated with him in his decision making. Giving the ball away as well. He was so ineffective. Him and Anthony as well. Fed up with that 80 million guy, street dancer, whatever he does, street footballer. I don't give a damn. Another abuser. Just when one case closes, another case opens. Regarding him, man. How poor were they?
Oh,
Garnacho and Anthony.
they're absolute garbage. I couldn't believe what I was watching. Starting with Garnacho, he did absolutely nothing.
Mhm.
He just
Yeah.
literally ran into players, misplaced passes, couldn't even do a basic cross into the box. He just looked like a kid, just a kid in a playground, just doing anything. And I know there's a lot of we got that guys in the group chat and stuff. There's a lot of friends that love Garnacho
Mhm.
and think he's gonna be the next Ronaldo.
Mhm.
But we need to stop overhyping these youngsters and putting too much pressure on them because what I saw in these first 2 games, he is far from ready to be a main starter for Man United, and he needs to get back onto the bench real quick because he's putting up stinkers after stinkers, and he just looks like someone that he does his best work when he comes on and the opposition is tired and he can just run at them, literally just run at them, no sort of trick or anything, just run at them and
Mhm.
just put the ball in. And I don't see any technical ability either. His first touch doesn't seem all that as well. He just seems like He just seems like someone like probably not. It's probably better than Elanga, but he just
Mhm.
kind of reminds me a bit of Elanga that just runs down, just runs into alleys and hopes for the best. But obviously he's still young, so I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. But going to Anthony, I was the only one that was backing this guy last season.
And I was
Lots of
backing him
people,
too to an
yeah,
extent,
yeah,
but
yeah.
you know what I
But there's
mean.
a lot of
I
people that
tried.
were already writing him off last season.
Hmm.
So he's just a one-trick pony, every day cutting left and shoot, and just wasted the ball. But he's doing the exact same thing as last season. And I
Hmm.
thought
Hmm.
that he was going to work with the manager in the pre-season that to work on
Hmm.
his deficiencies and to come
Hmm.
back stronger and start improving and kicking on. But he looks even worse than he was last season. Also, I know he's just started, and he's
Yeah.
probably still getting his match fitness and stuff. But he was ridiculous watching him. I was just looking at him thinking, this guy costs 85 mil,
Mm-hmm.
and he was looking like a League One baller out there, like just doing like. And the way he plays is what it kind of frustrates you. It just stresses you out. You give him the ball, and he's just like, I'm not expecting anything to happen. I'm not expecting him to beat a man.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not expecting him to score.
You can be a gal though.
Yeah, literally beat a girl.
Mm-hmm.
That's
But can't
still
be a man.
ongoing. That case is still ongoing. He'll shoot. You don't even expect him to score. You don't even expect him to take the target. That's how low my expectations have gone in his current form. He just shoots and it just skies it over. There was a shot that he did in the second half that he should have scored that. He's meant to be left foot. Everyone says that he's only got a left foot, and he still couldn't score with his left foot. And it makes you think he just got good at anything. Like if someone asks you what is he good at, and I wouldn't even be able to answer that with confidence that what he's good at, because right now he's not showing anything. So he's got a lot of work to do to win the fans over, because a lot of people already wrote him off from last season, and the numbers of people writing him off is getting even wider, because this guy's not showing anything that he's going to be a long-term stay in this United side. And because he's the massive signing from Ten Hag,
Mm-hmm.
it looks like Ten Hag's going to have to persist with him, just like when Oli persisted with Maguire, because that was his guy, his captain, £85 million defender. It looks like the manager's going to be like that with Anthony as well. So that's why I keep saying that the manager's got some big, massive decisions to make, because if he's going to be like Oli and continue to play his favourites, all these scrubby performances, then people would be saying ETH out before Christmas.
Yeah. So before we just hit two more players quickly before we move on to the next topic. And big up to Bath Time says, if your group chat with people saying that obviously Alejandro is going to be the next Ronaldo, you need to leave before everyone gets sectioned under the mental health act. There is one particular person in the group that needs sectioning for mental health, in the group chat that we're in. So it's not that he needs to leave, just that there's one particular person that this needs to be sectioned all the time as well. M says, this to me is worse than signing Maguire at the moment. Don't piss right to make chances. Don't score much, And also, Bath Time with Vaughan says Anthony's good in the first line of pressure, but to be fair, I really don't like him in the first team. Yeah, absolutely. And before we move, before we move on to the next segment of the show, Jerome, final two players, because we believe our manager's on fraud watch as well, but this player Bruno Fernandes, to me he's always been on fraud watch for the last 3 years, my opinion. Yeah, my opinion. You probably feel the same thing. And Mason Mount, horrible footballers. They cannot dribble. They can't really pass. Spamming the ball, as much as you can, recycling, spam. Yes, it will help you with your GAs and you look like you create a lot of chances. But on the eye, for 90 minutes, Bruno Fernandes is not the guy. He's not the playmaker. He cannot take us to the promised land. He is Moses. Moses never reached the promised land. He never took us to the promised land. He died at that mountain. And that's what he's doing right now. Bruno would die on the mountain. He would die on the mountain before we reached the promised land.
This guy
I don't
Bruno
think.
is
Yeah, go on.
atrocious. He's
Yeah, I don't.
absolutely
Yeah.
atrocious. Like I can't even hold back anymore. In previous weeks, I've been like, I don't really rate Bruno, but man, the manager's picked him as captain, and he can offer something to the team. He's offering nothing. He just, like you say, spamming balls. He's literally just turned into a hit and hope merchant. Literally, just hit and hope, get an assist, and that's it. I've done my job for the day. His style of play is not going to win us major trophies. And it hasn't ever won us any major trophies. He didn't do it at his previous club Sporting either. And he keeps pulling up stinkers after stinkers. And we've got Bruno fans, massive fans, and a couple of them that we know, whenever they pull up stinkers, they don't have nothing to say whatsoever. Nothing to say. Like, back your player. If that's your player, your favorite player, and you think he's good enough, back him. All they do is just deflect and deflect and deflect. And I think the longer we keep Bruno in this team as the main captain, then the longer I'm going to worry about this team going forward, because categorically we are not going to challenge for any major honours with players like Bruno and Mason Mount in that midfield. You need to be able to control games. All this kit and hope and spamming balls and losing the ball 15, 20 times a game, putting us constantly on the back foot. How is that going to keep the momentum going? You can't win games consistently with that style of play. And that's the reason why no top clubs wanted Bruno Fernandes. Like
Yeah,
literally, I
you know
keep
what,
asking
Jerome?
people
Yeah,
who wanted him, and they keep
I
saying,
have to say is
Spurs
that
wanted him.
I need to add that is that people don't watch football the way we watch football. We watch every phase of play. We don't watch football because of the goals that go in, and the scoreline. No, we watch the football. We watch the phases of play from ball coming from the goalkeeper to midfield to I mean from defense to midfield to the striker to how it goes in the phases and with a player like that and you wonder why we can't keep the ball. The guy gives the ball away. He's what's it called? Ball retention is low.
It's
It's low.
poor. It's
It's
pathetic.
very poor, and we want to be a possession-based football team. And those fans that are like Eric Ten Hag out are wondering, oh, why can't we play attacking football? It's because of Bruno Fernandes and Mason Mount. Because that's why we can't play attacking football. We've got issues there. Those are the guys who are the conductors, the orchestrators of the way we play, including the defensive midfield player, which is Casemiro. People need to understand football is like that. The only way you can play a certain style is with the midfielders you got. If the midfielders constantly giving the ball away and we're conceding goals, but you want to blame the manager, yeah, you're having a laugh. You're a fool. Because if you can't see that the players are also the problem, not just the manager being stubborn in his way, yeah, it's not just the manager, but it's also the players. Like we want to play a certain style, and I know Bruno ain't the guy for us to play possession-based football
And
and play
that's, yeah.
attacking football. He
And
ain't.
that's exactly
Maybe
why, yeah.
maybe if he was playing direct football, just be direct, purely direct, and just hit on breaks and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, then he's the guy for you because he will spam the balls. But when you want to retain the possession and build to the goal, build your way to the opposition's goal, that's not the guy. Mason Mount, I don't know what he's thinking. I think Ten Hag abandoned his philosophy because I don't see it. Jerome, let's move on straight
Yeah.
to Eric Ten Hag because of course we've 30 minutes into the show. We don't have that much time left. We've got the next 30 minutes to address Mason Greenwood and the manager himself. And make sure you guys smash
Yeah.
that like button and share across all social media platforms for those who are watching. Back live on Thursday, 5 p.m. for your latest Manchester United news, and of course Saturday as well for your watch along against Nottingham Forest. Hopefully that's our first. That's well, not our first, our second 3 points, which makes it 6 points, or our second victory of the season. Fingers crossed. But yes, the manager himself.
Yeah.
What you
Eric
saying
Ten
about
Hag.
him is are we going crazy or we're like we need to calm down, or maybe is it fair to say I'm not too sure about this manager,
No,
because
I
we've
think it's
given.
I
Yeah,
think
go
it's
on.
fair to the manager deserves a lot of criticism for these
Hmm.
first two games. And when I was reflecting on it on Sunday, I was thinking, am I being too reactionary
Hmm.
after just two games because we lost the first two games last season? But then I thought, no, I'm not being overreactionary because the manager's been here for a full year now,
Hmm.
and we haven't seen any change in style of play. And the two first performances of the season have been atrocious. That it's not the standards of Man United. And I'm thinking to myself, you've just played the starting, you did starting 11 for two consecutive games, and you played shit for both games. So if that's the case, and five or six players are playing shit at the same time, then you've got to look at the manager for that, because usually it might just be one or two performances, but that are not up to the standards. But because everyone else is playing well as a team, you could sort of get over the line. But we're going to struggle to win games if over half the team's playing shit, and that's got to be down to the manager. And like I said, we haven't really built a philosophy yet. I still don't know what we're trying to do with this Mason Mount signing, who seems to be his main guy. So, yeah, he's definitely, the jury's out on the manager at the moment, and
Hmm.
he's not immune from criticism. Obviously, he got third place and our first trophy in 6 years, but this is a new season now. We can't be looking at last season to say, oh, yeah, he deserves this and lay off the criticism and stuff. But we've spent a lot of money already in the transfer window, and for some reason, we seem weaker than last season. It's a bit bizarre, if I'm going to be
Hmm.
honest with you. Bringing in Mason Mount, we just Yeah, something's off at the moment.
And the funny thing about it, the pundits and the media are focusing their attention on Casemiro, like it's supposed to be on. But how about you focus on the real problem, which is your English star boy Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes? It's got nothing to do with Casemiro. The fact that he's been over, if he's being overrun, it's because there's so much space, and people are doubting whether he's a world class defensive midfielder. That's the same thing that's happened with Paul Pogba. You know, they just
Yeah,
ignore the situations, all the other fact that he was playing with Fellaini in midfield and McTominay or who it was whatever, but just focus on him. That's what I don't like. But back to the manager himself, you know, my
yeah,
eyes is on him. I said it in the group chat. I'm giving him until September. Yeah, to fix this shit right now because this is his team at the end of the day. This is his midfield. When we was all frowning upon the fact that we signed Mason Mount, and I'm like, why? What's the reason? And I said it in the group. He's just another Bruno Fernandes. And look at it. He's doing Bruno Fernandes shit. He's just another
it's
Bruno
true.
Fernandes. He spams the ball. He misplaces the ball. Yeah, fair enough that he 2 seasons ago he was Chelsea's best player, back-to-back player of the year for Chelsea. But last season we saw nothing. We signed a player that was barely playing, which people are right to say. Even I was like, yeah, we can probably look past it, but not anymore, man. I can't look past the fact that since preseason I have not seen a Mason Mount. I don't know what he is, but yeah, the manager needs to step up and start being assertive on certain things. You know, the green. I mean, not the green one. I mean, the Mason Mount and Bruno Fernandes. That positioning needs to be addressed. You can't allow players to go that far forward and leave a gap for your defensive midfielder who's only 31, like he's gonna be like he's got a lot of energy and a lot of leg to catch up with all these players. You've exposed him, and now people are looking at him like he's rubbish, which is not the truth. And on top of that, Jerome, I am not seeing the philosophy. The reason why is because you keep championing men who can't play your style. And is it a situation where is it the club? Because I know it's the club as well, Jerome. Because that club, yeah, they move slow in everything that they do. The strategy, even selling the club, has become to the point where you are fed up. Like you say, you know what? Yeah, this team, this club, they're not serious about anything. You know, even the way they handled the Mason Greenwood thing, 7, 8 months. Yeah, you're not serious about anything. You talk the talk, but you don't walk the walk. You tell us that you want to be great again, but you don't demonstrate it. This whole summer, let me tell you something. People told me that they're happy about the summer signings. I'm not. I was never happy about the summer signing. We never had a brilliant transfer window. I expected at least 7 players to come in, at least 6 to 7 players, 2 strikers, you know, Jerome, yeah, at least 3 midfielders, you know, because we was going to lose Van of. I mean, we lost what's his name already. What's his name left? He came
We
along
love
and left.
Fred. Yeah,
Fred is
Sabitzer.
gone. Sabitzer is gone. Yeah. Thomas meant to be sold, and Fred is gone now. They
Yeah,
expect you to bring 3 quality midfielders that will challenge um, Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro, and Ericsson. Yeah, not Mason Mount. We didn't need Mason Mount. We need a solid /8, 10 player, a hybrid who can go work, who can do box to box, and highly gifted, technically gifted as well. But we didn't do that. And we was meant to sign at least another defender because we would have sold Harry Maguire and we probably would have kept Lindelof. But to be my opinion, we should have sold both Lindelof and Maguire and bring in 2 more defenders, like this, you know, like the son, whatever the Korean guy that was meant to sign, bro. And there was an exceptional
G something Ming.
um
Yeah,
whatever
Kim Jong Min or
Kim
something.
Jong Min or Kim Jong Song, whatever his name is,
Yeah,
bro. Yeah, and another highly high class defender as well, and plus a defensive midfielder as well, plus 2 strikers, and also someone that compete with Anthony on the right wing. Full backs, I would have. Be honest with you, we should have bought a new left back, in my opinion. But Manchester United were never serious about what they wanted to do in terms of addressing. But this could have changed if the Manchester United themselves sold the club, Jerome. So a lot of things, a lot of Ten Hag's deficiency is based on the decision making of the club, in my opinion, as well. Not just him because he's got his own, he's his own person, he makes his own decisions, but he's restricted, in my opinion, because you
yeah.
don't just sign Mason Mount and you let Newcastle sign Tonali, or like you ignore the other players that are around that price as well. You know,
Casado,
Caicedo,
Lavia,
all sorts. If you
McAllister.
wanted, yeah, if you wanted someone like Amrabat, you would have got Amrabat first. In fact, yeah, one thing I have to say is that Manchester United knew they needed a striker, world class striker. You went to spend 160 million on Mount and almost 75 million on Hoyland. Why didn't you address the striker first? Why didn't you buy a Harry Kane with that money first and then start doing your thing? Because we needed a striker since Ronaldo left. So that's another thing on the club and on the manager's thinking. So, but again, I'm frustrated because we lost against Tottenham Hotspurs. We don't lose there. It's Tottenham Hotspurs. You remember those days, Jerome?
Yeah, when Fergie was like, "It's Spurs, guys, just
Spurs.
turn up."
Yeah, they'll be
Yeah,
like, "Oh, you're right. Yeah, it's Spurs. That's the
yeah,
reaction to the player. You're right.
yeah.
Why
Literally,
were
it's
you losing
Spurs.
3-0? We
That's the
lost
team
3. We
talk.
was losing
Yeah,
3-0 at half time. The manager
yeah,
said, "Come on, guys, it's Spurs at the end of the day.
yeah.
You can't be losing 3-0. We won 4-3. We came
Literally,
back.
it's actually 5-3. 5-3.
In fact, sorry, my bad.
Yeah,
5-3. You see
yeah,
what I'm saying? We
5-3.
came back.
Yeah, it's a mad thing,
So,
bro. Those are the days of. That's what we're trying to get. But like you said, the Glazers are holding this club back. As Ralph said, we need open heart surgery. And right now, we're doing a
open
patch
heart
job. It's
surgery.
just a patch job right now. We can't be moving and patch up jobs when the rivals around us are strengthening. So hopefully, in these next 2 weeks, we bring a couple of new signings in and we just push some deadwood out because at City, they're winning titles and trebles and still selling players that are winning titles and Champions Leagues and like the levels is just mad. Like we're keeping deadwood here, and they're selling world class players and bringing in even better world class players. Like it's crazy. Like we got a lot of work to do. Like all this deadwood that are just hanging around refusing to leave. So that's the only thing that gives me. That's why I can't be too hard on the manager. Obviously, he does deserve criticism because of his selections and the fact that we're not really developing the style of play. But we got Deadwood that he's struggling to get rid of. And I know people are saying, but he's told Maguire to stay in front for Swiss. But his actions speak louder than words. He didn't start
Yeah.
Maguire at all. He didn't even play him against Tottenham.
Not in the squad.
He wasn't even in the
Not in the
squad.
squad.
So obviously he wants to sell him and bring in a replacement. But there's some people that I just want the manager to fail. I come up with all the excuses possible to make it like it's the manager's fault. Because in an ideal world, he would want to get his own team and just do what Chelsea are doing. Just sell the whole team and just literally buy a whole new squad. And we need to do something similar, to be honest, because there's so many players that have been there so long and haven't achieved nothing, and they're just sitting too comfy. We just need to bring in young, hungry talent to come in and help push us forward. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in these next 2 weeks because we can't continue in this vein with this current squad, and it's just going to be interesting to see what happens with our midfield and see if we can get any additions in. Because right now, midfield and up front is looking so light, and our squad at the moment is not worthy of getting in the top 4, let alone the top 6. So it's going to be interesting. But like you said, I just can't believe we didn't address the striker situation and why we didn't get someone to support Casemiro, because this criticism that he's getting is hugely unfair and unjustified because he's literally just there on his own. Trying to defend and attack at the same time. It's just mad, like literally. He has to do the work of 2 or 3 people in that middle. And you got other players, Bruno, Mount, being ghost and just running around like headless chickens in there. So it's gonna be interesting to see. We just have to sit tight, do what we usually do and panic buy at the end of the transfer window and see who we get in. So we're going to be linked with every Tom, Dick, and Harry at the moment.
Absolutely.
So yeah, it's going to be crazy. It might be one of them ones where a player's going to come to do a medical and then he changes his mind and the flight got cancelled and he can no longer come to Manchester. There's always drama at United. There'll be something like that.
Proper.
There'll be drama.
Proper drama.
Yeah.
But yeah, that ends Eric Ten Hag, and we've got just a couple of minutes left before we end the show. Last segment, of course, is Mason Greenwood's club making this decision on him. In fact, let me get the statement up because I don't believe I've put. Let me get the statement up, man. It's a mad one, It's a mad one, But then again, I understand. I fully understand the club. The club makes their decisions on this, but they took so long. My only problem is that the guy, I don't know if they were looking for legal procedure and whether it's possible, but it doesn't take 7 months for your lawyer. But then again, it's Manchester United, isn't it? It's the same people
Protect them
that
for everything. Yeah.
you have to call someone else to tell your CEO to pick up his phone, bro. Yeah,
Literally, yeah. They're third parties.
yeah,
Literally.
yeah. Calling man them and say, yo, can you tell your CEO to pick up the phone, bro? I'm calling him about this transfer, but he ain't even. But
Right,
let
he's
me
on
go.
holiday. Or
He's
he
on
switched
holiday
his
and
mobile off or something.
can you imagine
Literally.
for a whole week? You run a football
Yeah.
club and your CEO and you switch your mobile phone off for the whole
Yeah.
week during the transfer window. This
It's
just that's
true.
what I keep saying about
Yeah.
our club, man. They're not
It's like
serious.
our board are just closing their eyes until the
Mhm,
transfer window shuts, and then they open it again and say, "Oh, there wasn't any value in the
mhm,
market," or some nonsense like that. Well, we're trying to make sure that we adhere to financial fair play regulations.
mhm. Yeah, but yeah, coming. This is coming from United statement, and of course, it's today regarding Mason Greenwood himself. Let me just change that straight away. As the Manchester United forward Mason Greenwood will leave the club by mutual agreement after 6 month internal investigation into his conduct. Listen, it doesn't take 6 months to investigate someone unless you're some next level criminal. Yeah, it doesn't take 6 months. Especially we said it before. The guy's black, bro. Black people's investigation takes at least 24 hours, man, and it's done.
It's
They found
true.
all the evidence that they needed, and it's done. Not. I'm not busting jokes, but it's the truth, though. Like, and I don't know how long it takes. 6 months. A black guy, 6 months until they find something. Like, it doesn't. Like, the evidence was there, as you said, Jerome. The video recording was there. Not the video. I mean, the audio recording was there, and the pictures were there as well. Don't know why it took 6 months. The police as well said they dropped the charges. So you as well should have. It doesn't take 6 months for to do an internal investigation because what was you doing this whole entire 18 months? Anyway, United said in a statement that all those involved, including Mason, recognized the difficulties with him recommencing his career at Manchester United. This is probably because of the backlash, and there it has therefore been mutually agreed that it would be most appropriate for him to do so away from Old Trafford, and we will now work with Mason to achieve that outcome. Based on the evidence available to us, we have concluded that the material posted online did not provide a full picture, and Mason did not commit the offense in respect of which I read this again. Mason did not commit the offenses in respect of which he was originally charged. Yeah, this is the funny thing that I'm like thinking. Wait, so you believe he didn't do it,
But
but
they're getting rid of him anyway.
yeah. So that
This
said,
club. Oh,
as Mason publicly acknowledged today, he made his mistake, which is taking responsibility for. I've still got more because it's a lot. You've got. I'll read what Richard Arnold had to say because he released an open letter. Let's get to that part where he talks. You know what? Yeah, it's too much. It's too much. It's too much. Let's not go there. It's too much shit
yeah,
to talk
a lot
about.
of
And let
talking.
me move up to
Yeah.
Greenwald's statement instead. Mason Greenwald said he released his statement. Um, I want to start by saying I understand that people will judge me because of what they have seen and heard on social media. Mhm. And I know people will think the worst, which is true. People probably did assume the worst and went there already. I was brought up to know that violence or abuse in any relationship is wrong. I did not do the thing I was accused of, and in February I was cleared of all charges. However, I fully accept I made mistakes in my relationship and I take my share of the responsibilities for the situation which led to the social media post. Yeah, something happened and it led to it. I am learning to understand my responsibilities to get a good example as a professional footballer, and I'm focused on the big responsibility of being a father as well as a good partner. Today's decision has been part of a collaborative process between Manchester United, my family, and me. The best decision for us all is for me to continue my footballing career away from Old Trafford, where my preference will not be a distraction for the club. I thank the club for their support since I joined age 7. Sorry, guys. I'm not crying, by the way. I just hiccuped. There will always be a part of me which is United. I am enormously grateful to my family and all my loved ones for their support. and it's now for me to repay the trust those around me have shown. I tend to be better footballer, but most importantly, a good father, a better person, and to use my talent in a positive way on and off the pitch. And funny thing is that Manchester United said they have a duty of care when it comes to the players. So there's been a bit of mix. It's a mix. I don't want to say mix. I mean mixed communication with Manchester United himself and Matt Judge. You know, you like there's certain things that you think, okay, do you guys are you guys selling him or are you gonna pull him out on loan? What do you mean he can't continue his career here? But you didn't say he's gonna sell him. Did you mutually terminate his contract? What the hell are you talking about? But I've also read that Fabrizio Romano said that Roma are interested. So Jose Mourinho himself is interested in bringing him to Italy. But for me, let me have my say first of all before I move to you, Jerome, before you have your say, and then we end the show. Obviously, domestic violence is wrong at the end of the day. We saw the videos. As much as he's a fantastic footballer, and we saw the audio. Sorry, we heard the audio, and we saw the pictures. Sorry, and I'll be honest with you, me and Jerome, me and you have sisters. At the end of the day, if it was our sister, I think we'd probably be behind bars. Let's be for real.
100%.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, behind bars. So we wouldn't be having it if it was our sister. What he done was so damn wrong. Which I said it in my previous Manchester United news last week, Thursday. Guys, make sure you watch that as well. When I spoke about Mason Greenwood, I said it's absolutely wrong. There's nothing more I can say. I can't sugarcoat it. I can't say anything wrong. Domestic violence, being up a woman is wrong. A man shouldn't be laying his hands. And the picture that I saw just showed to me that if it happens to be that he did this and not she did it to herself, the level of violence that I saw, the blood that I saw, and all that kind of stuff, and the bruises and all that kind of stuff, it's just far too much for me. And I think definitely the club made the right decision. However, however, again, as a Christian man, now I'm talking about as a Christian man, someone who's a firm believer of second chances, especially for youth, because I've always said it before, youth Gen Z are moving different mad. They're moving mad. What seems to be wrong seems to be normal to them and fine. Like for example, the amount of young teenagers are walking out with knives and etc., thinking that it's cool to stab when it's not stab. Because why? They're not getting the right level of mentoring from the people that they look up to, especially their parents as well. Some of their parents are not probably involved with the child's life, and the child as well probably doesn't have their fathers in their life to look up to be mentored the right way. And plus, watching music videos of inciting violence and all that kind of stuff doesn't really help. So, as a Christian man, if Jesus was on earth, we'll look at Mason Greenwood and try and give him a second chance. God will be merciful on him at the end of the day. Yeah. If I've said it before, if his partner has forgiven him and had a child with him, throughout all of this shenanigan that was taking place, this escapade that was taking place in the last 6-7 months, when there was internal investigation and when there was police investigation, and they were seeing each other and sleeping with each other and ended up having a child, they're laughing at your face right now, thinking, ha, we cause all this commotion, but we still in love with each other. Who are we to say, nah, he shouldn't come back, because he forgave him, the person dating him forgave him. We are just the guys outside looking in, at the relationship. We don't know what happened behind those closed doors in that relationship. And I know a lot of things in relationship. Things happen, and you hear what the other people tell you, because why? This is what they want you to hear, what they want you to understand. Oh, he did this and he did that, but they'll never mention what they did. It's the bad thing that I did towards them, for them to act like that. They'll tell you what they need to tell you for you to be on their side. Well, Mason Greenwood is a young man. He needs mentoring. We can't just be like, yeah, kick him out the club and do nothing about it. And what's he gonna do? Go back to what he knows best. Maybe violence is what he knows best. You know what I'm saying, Jerome? I've always said this before. Like, our youngsters they're just not normal. Our young generation, they're not normal. What they see that you think, no, it's a bit mad, they think it's fine, it's calm. So yeah, I'm happy that the club got rid of him. It is what it is. I move on. Yeah, but I hope they give him the right help that he needs and the support that he needs at the end of the day, because you can't just let him die. People prefer to him to just get kicked out the club, never play football again. So how's he going to make a living, Jerome? How's he going to learn from his mistakes if we just forget about him? You know, just like the way I look at the prison, the correctional facilities. Nobody goes in there and comes back different. They come back even worse because we don't think about mentoring them and correcting them. You know, prison's meant to be a correctional facility place where you go in there and everything about you from doing a bad thing changes and you come out a better person. But it's never been like that. You come out even worse because you don't get the support that you need. And when you come out of prison, you know, you go see your what's it called, you need to get a job, but no one's looking to hire you. No one wants to give you the chances. And then what do, Jerome? You go back to stabbing, killing, and thieving again. So you got to think of it like that in that aspect. But Jerome, I've had enough. You know, my mouth is getting really dry. You know, I need some water. So let me get your thoughts in the last 7 minutes, man.
Yeah. First of all, with this whole Mason Greenwood thing, I can't even lie, I got mixed emotions on it. From a footballing viewpoint, I would have loved the club to have put him out on loan, help him sort of heal from the whole process and get all the help he needs and the support to sort of do better and to correct himself, get back into football, get back into his day job, and hopefully at some point in the future come back to United as a better person. But obviously that was just all dreams because the moment we saw the video footage and the voice notes, it was almost just like it was always going to be difficult for the club to bring him back into the side because obviously that domestic abuse, especially to women, is big in the UK. It's a big sensitive topic, and it's one of those situations where if he came back to the club playing, the amount of noise and disruption and drama that we'll have to endure as a club will just be too much of a big distraction for what the manager's trying to do, is trying to build a team to compete on all fronts. And if we've had that if we've had all that noise there, then it's just going to hold us back. And then anytime we lose a game or play rubbish, that'll be the excuse. Oh, Mason Greenwood's here, we've got too much noise and disruption. They'll use the Mason Greenwood thing as a scapegoat. And I think ultimately that's what led to the decision of the club deciding to terminate his contract because it's just too much. And based on their statement that they put out last week, Wednesday, I honestly thought that Mason was coming back. So I think there was a major U-turn over these last week. They must have saw the backlash, all the comments from all over the country, and they probably just looked at it and thought, you know what, there's no way we can bring Mason back. It's just going to be too much for us to be able to deal with. We've already got enough issues as it is in terms of the squad and the performances on the pitch. So to have Mason come back with all the extra noise is, it's just going to be too much. Because we're one of the most talked about clubs in the world as well, it'll just be even more magnified as well. So it's sad that Mason's going, but as you said, I totally agree. It's definitely 100% the right decision for Mason to go. You never know. Maybe he could come back to United in the future, maybe in the next 3-4 years. But that's me dreaming. I'm looking at that, I'm thinking, we live in a culture now where you just, this Gen Z culture, this cancel culture, very unforgiving. And I'm a firm believer that everyone deserves a second chance in life.
Yep.
And if Mason can't get a second chance, then there's no hope for any of us because none of us are perfect.
Well, that's the thing is though, the second chance is very selective in my opinion because they gave Philip Schofield a buy. You know, the guy was grooming a young 14-year-old guy, young 14-year-old boy, taking him out on dates and asking people to not take pictures and not post it up. Many years ago, we had one guy in the BBC, you know, asking, you spending taxpayers' money on asking for nudes. You don't even know how old those people were.
And don't forget, he's a grown man. He's a grown man as well. Mason Greenwood is just a kid at the end of the day. He's a kid that's got a lot to learn in life as well. So we just need to let him just develop as a human, develop into a young adult, and hopefully come back better from this and learn from his mistakes because none of us are perfect. Yeah. And I just think if we did not see the video footage and the voice note, he would still be here playing for Man United because there wouldn't have been any visual evidence for us to look at because it seems like everyone's made up their minds now regardless of whether we know the full story or not.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's always two sides to a story, like you said, and everyone's just going off on their decisions based on what they saw on social media, which is quite sad, really, because 10 years ago, social media wasn't really a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But now anything can get posted online now. So when you look at it like that, Mason Greenwood's only got himself to blame, really, to put himself in that position and put his career and his life in jeopardy, really, because it's going to be difficult for him to like, even just walk around the streets
Yeah,
in
it's gonna be very
Manchester.
difficult in Manchester.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult for him to just live his normal life without someone making a passing comment at him or shouting abuse at him. So yeah,
So,
it's a crazy world that we live in, and
mm-hmm.
I think the club were just looking out for his welfare as well. Obviously, the victim as well,
Mm-hmm.
his missus, but he's also needs looking after as well. Like,
Yeah.
because his mental state must be crazy. I don't know what he's going through at the moment. Like he's probably just not even be able to. He's not able to probably live his normal life, being in the country. Even with the charges dropped and the case not even going to court. So it's crazy. Literally, it's absolutely crazy. But the club, just to conclude, they definitely made the right decision because too much noise, and because it's such a high profile case, it's just something that the club they don't have, what's that word? They just don't have the
Mm-hmm.
appetite to be able to deal with all of that because the
Exactly.
noise would be sensational. Imagine playing at away grounds. Like the noise will be deafening. It would just be like abandoning the game because the noise is so mad. So
Well, I hope they treat Philip Schofield and that other guy from BBC the same way. Like, and what's the call? The other guy, the one that had the children's show and also that got caught up as well. I forgot his name. Some
the
old
children's
man.
show.
CBBC presenter.
I know who you're talking about. 'Cause now my mind's gone blank now.
Yeah, it just
Um,
seems to me like those guys who commit the most
yeah,
serious crimes are the ones that are really, really getting away with it. No, don't get me wrong. What Mason Greenwood did was a serious crime as well. Yeah. But like stuff like what Philip Schofield, grooming, you don't know who else. It could just that could be the only one that you know of, but you just
yeah, it
don't
could be
know
one
who
of
else.
many.
One of many. And he's acting, breaking down and getting the publicity that he needs to make it look like, oh, he only made a mistake, he's a good guy at the end of the day, You see what I'm saying? Like you can pardon that, but you can't
Yeah,
even pardon a 20-year-old that probably done it when he was 16 or 17 because these could be old pictures, old
it's
photos,
true.
old recordings. We don't know because the evidence, according to the police investigation, wasn't sufficient enough. And the person who reported him didn't really want to report him, yeah, and dropped the case. Because why? She's having a baby. But yeah, Joe, I just want to thank you for today's episode as well. So we can just let you go so we can both watch the second half of Arsenal. Hopefully, Arsenal lose, and and it just rejuvenates us and think, you know what?
Yeah,
That Tottenham win wasn't that bad at the end of the day. We
yeah,
only dropped
it's
three
true.
points. The champion Man City will go and run away with it, but we're looking for the
Yeah,
second or third place. So at the end of the day,
yeah, definitely. Still early days. I know
hmm
obviously
hmm
it got a bit emotional
yeah,
on Saturday, but
yeah,
yeah, once the dust has settled,
hmm
it's time to turn it around. Remember, we keep saying it's a marathon,
hmm
not a sprint.
not
So
sprint.
the manager, we're going to give him
Mhm.
time to turn it around.
Yep.
If we're not seeing any changes in September, then question marks are going to be needed to see if this guy can make it through to the end of the season because he's looking peak if he's not changing things around that sort of time
I'm
within
telling
6 weeks into the season.
you. Absolutely. But yeah, guys, everyone that's tuning in today and those who are watching on the playback, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to Red United TV. As I said earlier on, I am back live on Thursday, 5 p.m. for your latest Manchester United news as well. That's live on Twitter, Facebook. Not Twitter, I mean Twitch, Facebook, and also YouTube. And then of course we got on Saturday, we are live for the watch along against Nottingham Forest. Back again next week, Monday for the catch up. Hopefully we have won. So the rest of the guys, the fake Red United TV pundits as well, yeah, will show they will show up because we've won the game and they want to talk with their chest. That's why I have to big up Jerome as well. When we
Yeah.
lose games, Jerome's still here, bro. Even
Yeah.
I'm still
I don't
here.
hide from nobody.
Don't hide. We don't hide, bro. You get me? We don't hide at all. But yeah, man, big up to everyone that's tuning as well. As always, remember to keep it Red United. And of course, remember to keep it Red United. We'll see you next week, Monday at 8 p.m. Peace and love.
Peace.
Sayonara.